The meeting is called to order. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag. Welcome, everyone, to the October Committee of the Whole meeting for the Community High School District 94 Board of Education. Mission statement, please.
Community High School will ignite a passion for learning, foster leadership and responsibility, and empower all learners to live their personal best.
Thank you, Rich. Board agreements, please.
School visits. Board members are encouraged to attend school events such as sporting events, fine arts events, community events, as a spectator, as their time permits. Board members wishing to visit a school in official board capacity shall discuss with the superintendent purpose, their official capacity, and the best time to visit. As a courtesy, notify the building principal of your visit, check in with the office staff upon arrival, follow campus guidelines for visits, such as signing in, guest badges, escort, etc. Respect staff time and allow staff to perform their duties, not evaluate the staff, not give direction to any staff or students, not accept gifts other than nominal tokens or favors from any district employee. When visiting with teachers of their own children, board members will make it clear that they are acting as parents rather than board members. If a board member observes an issue on campus, the concern will be communicated to the superintendent.
Thank you, Lynn. Roll call, please.
Mr. Brown?
Here.
Ms. Casey Mayer?
Here.
Mr. Nagel?
Present.
Mr. Ramos?
Present.
Ms. Munoz?
Here.
Ms. Chavez?
Here.
Ms. Murphy?
Present.
All right, that brings us to public participation. This is the portion of our meeting where any member of the public may address the Board of Education on any topic. We welcome your comments and will carefully listen to your concerns. We will not be able to engage in a dialogue during public participation, but when appropriate, we will direct the administration to follow up. Presentations are limited to no more than 5 minutes per person, with a total time limit of 30 minutes for public participation. If you are making public comment, please speak slowly so that the translator is able to keep up with you. If you wish to make personal charges or complaints against individual employees, volunteers, or students of the district, we request that you send the board your concerns in writing rather than stating those concerns during public comment. If anyone currently present wishes to make public comment and has not already done so, please fill out one of the comment forms in the back of the room and hand it to someone seated at the table. At this point, we have received no comment forms and we received no electronic public comment, so that brings us to reports and information, teaching, learning, and professional development report.
Good evening. We've got an exciting night in teaching and learning as we're going to talk about course proposals for the upcoming year. Juniors will start registering at the end of the month. So we do have 6 new courses for next year, 1 that we'd ask for approval now for the following year, 27-28, and then 1 modification. So first of all, this is the 1 course that we would be looking to implement during 27-28. The reason that we're asking for implementation now is because it's a unique course that's similar in structure to geometry and construction, where it's a double block class that pairs algebra with a business slash kind of manufacturing course. The reason that we're would like to offer it is, again, the personal pathway that we're really trying to focus on through the strategic plan, as well as to close academic achievement gaps in terms of the algebra being a way to support business, and business being a way to support algebra with that. And then also, as you'll see for number 2, the way that this is structured is through that concept of contextual learning. So essentially really just meaning that the kids are applying it in a real world kind of fashion that gives them a larger context for that. You will notice down at the bottom that there would be components that would need to be purchased for the business aspect of it, because the students would actually be making potentially stickers or doing laser engraving or different kinds of projects of that nature. However, Nick Kempsky, who is in charge of post-secondary success, will be able to fund this through the Perkins grant. So that is a factor to take in consideration there. Next, this will be a second course that would follow our Intro to Ed. Currently, we do have an education pathway for students who are interested in preschooling, early childhood. However, for students who are interested in elementary, special ed, or secondary education, we don't have a complete pathway yet at this point. So this course, technically this is the same name that they use at College of DuPage, is just the second in that half. This would be the 4th, 5th, and 6th credit hour that's needed in order to establish a pathway. So that is the reason that we're offering this. Again, you'll see that personal pathway, formally a pathway endorsement opportunity, and then also really looking at teaching as a profession in general and wanting to be able to kind of nurture potential teachers that we would have here. I think that WeGo is one of the schools that really is able to have students return as faculty, and so that would be one of our goals in really trying to develop this as well. This course, AP Seminar, obviously with the AP out in front, we know that this is something that is coming from the College Board. This would be used in a unique way that is already occurring in schools in Chicago as well as throughout the country, where this would be taught in terms of journalism as the focus for this. So one of the reasons that this is coming forward, Leslie Fireman, through the Wildcat Chronicle, a member of the English department, has engaged in conversations with Lauren Stewart, who's the English division chair, and myself for over a year. This is something that she has been researching and working on. Really at student request. She does have a very dedicated group of students who are very passionate about journalism, and this would be a way to get them other coursework that would enable them to devote more time to what it is that they are doing. So this would be a formal AP course. Students could choose to take AP Language perhaps as a junior and then take AP Seminar. You know, that could be reversed, but this would give students an opportunity to really use content that they're very passionate about in terms of being able to develop their reading and writing skills. And at the bottom, in terms of projected costs, really the only component of that would be professional development to prepare for the course itself. This is a unique class for us. This is coming out of the physical development. Connor Zapital has brought this forward. This would be an asynchronous course, so it's the first that we would be offering. And what this would enable students to do is to take PE outside of the school day. One of the reasons for that is really trying to offer students to have more time in their schedule to be able to kind of meet their needs or desires in terms of electives. So this would be using heart monitors, but they're designed for use outside of the building. So these have already been purchased. They're in stock here in the building. We have enough that it would be 40 students first and then 40 students second semester. But again, this really aligns to the components of what they're working on in terms of really embracing physical fitness and wellness and integrating that into your own lifestyle. And as one of the things that you can see with a few of these courses, we've really also worked on expanding blended opportunities, which have been successful for us here. If you're in the building during the school day, you can see students outside the foyer of the auditorium or in the library who are actually working on their own on schoolwork, perhaps even the class that they're in at that time, because this does give them the flexibility that they can study and then make a decision about, you know, when they would be doing that for the particular class. So this course, again, is the first move that we've made into something asynchronous. It will be limited in terms of the one section due to the heart monitor component at this time, and Connor Zapital, who is the division head, would teach this course himself. So that's the way that it's designed at this time. Also from physical development, this is a blended course, and here what this would enable students to do as sophomores is to have this course not only during the school day, but also have that blended component. This one is probably worth just a moment if we can get it quickly enough. So this is the the driver's ed component, and what this would do is to give students an opportunity to better utilize that time during the class period because of the way that they alternate essentially through the different components of the course, which would be behind the wheel, the classroom component, and simulator. Then students would be able to be more active during that time. Again, kind of smaller groups of students who are working as well. So that's the focus of what this is. So it's not a change in the curriculum or anything like that, just the way that it's being delivered. I think you know that Scott Albright has been doing a lot of work in terms of healthcare over the last few years. And so he and Nick Kempsky and I have been working on a series of courses, human anatomy being one of them that will again be dual credit. You may remember that a number of years ago that was something we were able to offer that way, and that's always dependent on the certification of faculty that we have in the building. We're going to see a modification to the Intro to Healthcare. But this is enabling students to be able to have this as a capstone where they're actually applying what they'll have learned in the earlier courses to be working with our athletic trainers after school, doing taping and working with our own athletes at the end of the day. So again, really exciting in terms of being able to target a larger group of students who are interested in healthcare, perhaps not seeing themselves as formerly nurses or doctors, but really interested in sports, wellness, that kind of thing, who would be interested in this kind of course. And this one does have a cost that is less than what we are doing with the Intro to Healthcare. You can see there for each student, because of using those sim-rated modules, which is that simulations essentially where they're actually using products that they're performing different tasks with. They videotape themselves and have to explain what it is that they're doing. And then those are sent into the corporation that actually gives them individual feedback in terms of how well that they're performing that. And so that is what the component of that fee is for the athletic training. Biomedical terminology, again, we're going to be able to offer this hopefully in a pathway setting. So students would be able to hopefully take this prior to doing human anatomy. This would be something that would better prepare them to be able to do this. Currently, we do have students who are going to TCD who are actually doing the equivalent of this, although they're there, which one of the goals for us would be able to have the students here in the building. And so this component really is that challenging language learning, memorization, a little bit kind of old school component of really expanding vocabulary in terms of medical terminology to prepare them to be able to be more successful at those more rigorous courses here at the high school as well as in college. And this does have a textbook component, however, that would be a one-time purchase. And then there is online modules that would be annual. And then finally, Intro to Healthcare, this is just a modification. Currently, we are offering 4 separate semesters of Intro to Healthcare. And one of the reasons for that was really to try to have a robust offering in terms of students who are interested in healthcare. By far, this has been the most significant interest that we've seen from a large group of students in terms of a potential pathway. However, now that we're going to have a number of dual credit courses that would be available, Mr. Albright is requesting that we would make this a single one-year course that students would be able to take. And again, this would be in preparation for them to continue through the pathway into whatever they were interested in terms of the medical terminology, human anatomy. This could be something that would lead them to the athletic training as well. So this will be the foundational and is the foundational course that we have in terms of the pathway component for healthcare. Sir, I can tell you about what is being proposed.
That's an impressive list of classes.
It is exciting. It really is exciting and very intentional and really tied to the strategic plan. So we're very grateful for the direction and the opportunity to have kids thinking about the future in really purposeful ways.
I think they're all wonderful. I really appreciate the out-of-the-box thinking about that independent PE, because that's one of the things that so many students run into is so many classes they'd like to take, but not enough slots in the day.
Yes.
And so you're finding creative ways to open up opportunities.
I think the next place that we'll see that will be through consumer ed, because that's another one of the courses that would lend itself to that kind of delivery in the future.
Actually very excited to see an effort to make algebra make sense because I don't really believe that it makes sense. And yet I still ended up in a field where I have to work with concepts like that all the time. It would have made a huge difference for me back in high school if somebody proved to me that there really were such a thing as negative numbers. I didn't know that.
The application component can be really valuable for students who either have that kind of math fear or maybe don't have the concepts solidified before they get to 9th grade.
Curriculum question, not necessarily on new curriculum.
Sure.
I was here yesterday and noticed students out with what looked like surveying equipment. Is that what?
Were you out near the garage?
Yeah, what class is that associated with?
Most likely it was geometry and construction. I don't think that the manufacturing or drafting would have been out there, but I'm not 100% sure. Would you know? Yeah, I would think so. They're out at the garage pretty much every day. Yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments?
I really love the health sciences courses. I wish I would have had that. It would have made a difference. The journalism, loving that.
Oh, good.
The education piece is long overdue to introduce those higher levels of grades.
That is one of the things I think also just across the state in terms of the pathways being encouraged is the kids need a sequence. If they like a course, they don't want to just take one. And if we can put a number of them together, they become so much more proficient.
Okay.
I do have one just brief update for you then from Dales for the month of September. So just to let you know, when the board met, there were a couple of just key components to that. One of them is facilities work that they're going to be doing this year. So they do have 4 goals that they've identified in terms of that. One is a facilities assessment. So there are 3 new administrators at Deos this year, and so they're really bringing in kind of a really fresh lens and wanting to go back through and doing a lot of auditing of the resources that are there and the offering for kids. So one of them will be looking at the facilities themselves. They're also going to be talking about a current space utilization. So they do have a large building, not all of which is necessarily being used to its capacity, and so they're very interested in looking at would there be other ways that the space could be configured or utilized that would benefit either the students who are actually in the TCD program or something that could be brought in. They're also talking about a safety audit. So as you can imagine, there's all kinds of equipment that's going on with, fire science, the construction, automotive. They have both auto body and being able to work on the vehicles themselves. So they really want to make sure that everything is in operating order to make sure that the students are very safe. And then they're also going to look at the leases that are in place. They do have a few groups that are renting and using space within the building. So again, I think going back to just that space utilization component. And then I think you may recall that TCD Deos is going to be going through the strategic planning process. So they've taken kind of the step forward where they've received bids from different consultants who would be interested in doing that work. So that is currently where that is at this moment. And And then something of special interest to us would be that they're really starting to look at the supports that are available for Spanish-speaking students and their families. So one of the things that they have put in place now is that they're having something they're calling like a night calling system, where they have staff who are making phone calls home, just as we might hear with our own staff, to families that are preferred Spanish speakers, to be able to have that communication at home, to let them know how students are doing, any concerns with attendance or things like that. So I think definitely a really positive step for them, especially for us. And other than that, we'll be meeting again soon on October 16th.
Thank you for that update. That brings us to software renewal. Dan?
Thank you. At the October 21st board meeting, I'll bring a recommendation to the board to approve the renewal of our Microsoft Office tools. There's no increase to the cost from the prior year. And again, we've had Microsoft since fiscal year 14. So any questions on that?
Hearing none, that brings us to snow removal.
The district outsources to a third-party contractor the responsibility to clear the snow and ice of our lots connected to West Chicago High School, which includes the bus lanes and both student parking lots at Geneva and at Wood Street. The district staff clears the snow and ice on all the sidewalks around the building, along with the sidewalks to Wood and Green Street, Wood and Geneva Street student parking lots. The most recent 2-year contract with Ground Effects is ending, and so we need to go out to bid for removal of snow. A bid was issued on September 29th for a 3-year contract for the snow removal and icing of all district lots and bus lanes. We held a mandatory pre-bid meeting this afternoon. We had 6 contractors attend. Again, appears like lots of interest. So the bid opening is scheduled for October 14th. We will review those submissions and bring a recommendation to the board at the October 21st meeting. Any questions?
Is there a reason we separate the sidewalk clearing from the regular snow removal, that we could potentially be using our maintenance staff for other things in the building?
It's the way we've always done it. I think it's mainly because of just ensuring that our sidewalks are clear. Sometimes there's signs throughout the sidewalks, and just to make sure that the outside contractor isn't hitting those signs or damaging property, that our staff knows where all those signs are.
All right. Thank you for that information, and that concludes everything on our agenda for today. So is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right. Thank you, everyone.